Good day, welcome to Music Lesson with Miracle. My name is Miracle, and this is my first video for this channel. Well, the second video, but the first uh, lesson actually. And I just want to share a little concept with you all today. A concept that can help you improve your playing on the acoustic guitar, even on the electric guitar. But at the same time, this concept is also going to help you enjoy your playing of the guitar, especially when you're beginning and you're learning chords, and it can become a little boring if you are just sticking to the norms. I remember when I started playing, there was a specific song that really got me into playing guitar. I was already doing music, I was playing drums, I was singing, but I wanted to improve my singing. And I thought I should play an instrument that's going to help me practice my singing. I wanted to learn how to play piano, keyboard, but I found it to be not too challenging. Because with the structure of a piano or keyboard, you can play a melody of a song that let's say like Happy Birthday or anything, from the first lesson. If you just press the notes of a piano or a keyboard from the lowest to the highest, the white keys, you will be highlighting the C major scale. But that's not the same with the guitar. On the guitar, for instance, if I randomly strum all these strings like this, they don't really sound anything musical, anything that a beginner or a non-guitar player can actually relate to as music. And I actually liked it. I liked the fact that it was challenging to just make music on the guitar. I always love challenges. That's why I picked the instrument. But there was a song that really got me into playing the guitar, and the song was in the key. I don't know if it was in the key of C, but I'm gonna use the key of C because it's just much easier to demonstrate that particular song. And it was something like this. Now, when I started taking classes, I enrolled at a music college. I remember my teacher, my guitar instructor, taught me something like this. I think it was. Those are the chords that I learned, right? So this is C major, this is an A minor, D minor, G7. It sounded good, but I quickly realized that it just sounded like basic chords, and it was not sounding as expressive as the music that drew me into playing the guitar. Along the journey, I asked one of my instructors, why is it that when you teach me something, it sounds like it's just an exercise, but when I listen to a piece of song and I try to learn it, it sounds like that piece of song has some kind of emotional expression. I'm not just playing chords or melodies, but there's an expression, there's an emotional expression behind that. For instance, if I have a chord like this one, or maybe this one. Okay, so this is an F major chord. Then I get this other type of F. Okay, this is an F suspended 2. I felt like this one sounds more expressive than just playing this. So then he said those kinds of chords that you're talking about, those are like advanced chords. You find them in jazz, they can be a little bit difficult to learn in the beginning. And then I was stuck learning the basic chords, the one that apparently one has to learn before they get into the jazz chords and all the cool stuffs. After learning for so many years and playing and teaching, I decided that when I get a chance to teach my own student, I will do something different. I'm gonna teach them what I did not learn from the very beginning. Because as much as I know there are different levels of difficulties in playing specifically the guitar, music is music. When we listen to music, we don't relate to it necessarily as, okay, this is jazz, this is what. It's just what draws us. The feeling, the emotions behind the music that we listen, that draws us. And when we want to replicate the same music, it's very important to be able to do it the way we feel it, the way we heard it, and the way we feel it. So I don't really believe in having all those different stages of learning chords and melodies, because these are apparently advanced and the other ones are basics. Then you feel like you're bored and you're stuck learning the basic things, but they don't really sound like the music that got you into playing the guitar. That's what I want to try to address today, so that it can help you not fall in the pit that I fell into when I started my journey of learning and playing the guitar. So I'm going to pick a song. It's a popular song. It's a song that most people know. I won't tell the title of the song. In fact, I would like you to tell me, because I'm gonna play that song. I'm gonna play the chord progression for that song. If you're able to tell which song it is, please drop a comment and just mention which song do you think it is. So it goes something like this. So here are the chords. I'm gonna play it in the key of A. Play this chord progression in its basic form, right? So you got A major, F sharp minor, E major, and D major. These are the basic chords that we all learn when we start learning guitar. Obviously, I know most of us start learning in the key of C, but I just chose to play in the key of A. And next time I do a lesson, I'll try to explain the basics of playing the guitar, especially acoustic guitar, what the strings name are. I'll do that next time in the next lesson. So once again, A major, F minor, F sharp minor, E major, and D major. The chord progression goes like this. This is the basic form of this particular chord progression. This is how we all learn. This is how we all start, right? But I found it to be very basic, and it can be boring because these chords are just, normal chords and plain chord. I call them plain chord because they're not stepping out of any norm. They are really within the norms of how chords are built, especially triad chords. I thought we could push this concept one step forward by using a technique that's known in the jazz music world as common tone. So common tone in music refers to using a specific sound and repeating that sound throughout the progression, right? So if I have, let's say, A major, I'm gonna use the top note, or the top string, which is E, as a common tone between all the chords that I'm going to play. So here, pay attention to the E. Here it goes. That's the concept I'm trying to push here. And it may be a basic concept, but if you use it well, it can be very powerful, right? Tone, by the way, means sound in certain context in music. It can also mean the interval between two musical notes. But in this concept, I'm using the word tone as sound. So when we say common tone, right, we're referring to a sound that is common, let's say to the entire melody that we're playing, or to the entire chord progression that we're playing, right? So in this case, I'm going to use certain notes as common tones throughout the chord progression that I play. All right. So I'm going to start with the top E, the first string of your guitar. Okay. I'm going to use it as a common tone. I'm going to incorporate it in all the chords that I'm playing. Okay. So I'll start with the A major, the E note, then F sharp minor. In this case, I'm playing an F sharp minor 7, and then E major. In the chord of E major, the note E is the root. Okay, so I'm just playing it, at the upper register, so it functions as an octave. Then I have my D major, then E note. Okay, remember we're using that top string as a common tone, right? And that gives this chord, this particular D chord, a different name. It's not a D major anymore. It's now a D suspended 2. So we got A major, F sharp minor 7, E major, D suspended 2. You see, using one tone, one note throughout the chord progression changes the names of the chords that I'm playing. The chords that were major, in the case of D major, becomes a suspended 2, right? So if I have to play the progression that I played in the beginning, using the E note as a common tone, you're going to hear that the music will be sounding a little bit more interesting and a bit more mature, right? So here we go. I have that rich sound simply because I decided to use the top E string, or the top E note of my guitar, as a common tone, right? We can push that concept further. Now we're going to use the B string, open B string, as our common tone. And again, it's going to change the names of our initial chords. We had an A major, and then we had an F sharp minor 7, E major, and then D major. Now, if we use the B common tone, the A major becomes A suspended 2. The F sharp minor 7 becomes an F sharp minor 11, because the B note functions as an 11. That's music theory. At this point, I'll have to say advanced music theory, but it's not that difficult. It's not that complicated. In other lessons, I'm going to try to explain what those terms mean. But you can easily play all these things that I'm playing because you got the chord diagrams that shows on your screen. So you can follow the chord diagrams and be able to play these chords, right? If there is anything that you need to remember in using these concepts, is that you're just using the open strings of your guitar. We use the E string, the top E string, and now we're using the B string. And it's not so much about how complicated the names are, the names of the chord. It's so much about the sound. Having the sound of that one string repeating throughout the progression, and making your music sound a bit more interesting, right? Or your chord playing sound a bit more interesting. So once again, F sharp minor 7 becomes an F sharp minor 11. The E major remains E major, and the D major becomes E suspended 4 over D. Again, another complicated term. Just remember, we're just using common tones. The open strings of our guitar, the top strings of our guitar, the E string and the B strings are the ones that we're using as common tone, right? So in this case, we're just using the B string. So here's the progression entirely using the B string as a common tone throughout the chord progression. In the last part of this lesson, we're going to do two things. We're going to use the first common tone that we learned, which was the E, the E, as the second part of our chord progression. So we are assuming that the chord progression we're playing has two sections. You have the section where the singer is probably singing the verses, and then you got the section where the singer is singing the chorus. Okay? And when we sing the verse, we're gonna use the lowest common tone. And between the E string and the B string is the lowest, right? E string is the first string and B string is the second string. So we're gonna use the B string for the verse part where the singer is singing the verse, and then when the song moves to the next section, which is the chorus, we're going to use the E string, right, just to create that interest. All right, so I'm going to play the entire chord progression, the entire song. I'm not going to say which song it is. I would like to hear from you. Please drop a comment and tell me which song you think it is. I'm not playing it exactly the way it is written. By the way, when you listen to that song, you don't hear the guitar. So I had to imagine the chords that a guitar could be playing, right? And how to make it fun for myself. And now I'm sharing that idea with you. All right. So here we go. I'm going to play using the common tone that we've learned, right? So starting with the B string or the B note as my common tone. Here we go. Here comes the second part, and I'm going to use the E note as the common tone, as I said, because the E note is the highest note or the highest string. It's going to give a little bit of a boost of mood to the song. Okay, here we go. Okay, now I'm gonna play the whole thing. I'm gonna play the verse part and the chorus part. Okay, here we go. Yeah, that's it. That's how you can take a simple chord progression and turn it into something interesting. I mean, a chord progression that sounds a bit more different than just a, chord exercise when you're learning a song or when you're learning your music. So there's a whole logic behind everything that I've done, and I do not have so much time to explain everything here on this platform, but I do teach privately. I do give private lessons on guitar and singing. Okay, and if you're interested in taking lessons and improve your guitar playing or your singing, feel free to send me an email on Music Lessons with Miracle, and we will book you for your classes so you can start taking lessons and improve your music, right, on the guitar and singing. All right, with my student I teach music theory. I go in depth with the concept that I've shown. Those instructions are paid for, but you won't break the bank, don't worry. If you enjoyed what you learned, please drop a comment. Please remember to tell me which song do you think it is that I played, and remember to subscribe and share this lesson, this video, with your friends, your family members, everybody in your contact list, and look out for more lessons and more interesting tips on the guitar and on singing. See you next time. Peace.